Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the January 2021 energy forecast for life path number 336. So that's master number 336. 33s, I would suggest go ahead and listen to the reading for the sixes because that is your life path number. The 33 energy is an extension of that energy. So I feel like that may resonate for you as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get into January. So January is actually a 6th universal month. And so, which is, again, that's your life path number is 6. So I feel like you may be feeling these energies a little bit more pronounced, a little bit more intensely than maybe some of the other collective. So just be aware of that. What we may see this month is sort of a resurfacing of family, community, health. And so you may see some experiences pop back up that you experienced in November, but maybe you didn't fully reconcile or take care of back then. And so now it's kind of like resurfacing to say, hey, I'm still here. I need some attention. So you may be faced with some situations that just need attention around family, community, and health this month. So just be aware of that. Some common themes that we may see highlighted this month are around honesty, fairness, and genuine concern for others. So I do feel like this is going to be a month where collectively we're going to have an opportunity to choose to be reintroduced to empathy or to have an experience where we have an opportunity to choose empathy and compassion for others. So you may find this month that you are needing to have some honest conversations with yourself or with others. You may see that you are coming in as that peacekeeper or trying to see a situation out of fairness or to treat others fairly. And, I don't have any doubt that 33s are very capable of treating others fairly and probably doing so often. But this is just going to be an opportunity to sort of lead by example this month. And then another area that I think is going to probably influence or affect you all pretty strongly is around setting healthy boundaries. And this comes up a lot for sixes and 33s. Just because you guys are those nurturing caregivers, so you're constantly sort of overextending and giving of yourself and sometimes to your detriment and becoming a doormat, right? So this is just an energy to really say, make sure you're setting those healthy boundaries. Don't take on unnecessary obligations or overly burdensome commitments this month and ongoing. But I think that you're going to have some experiences this month that will give you the opportunity to sort of stand your ground. And those things that maybe in the past you would have said yes to out of the feeling of obligation, you're going to have an opportunity to maybe look at things a little bit differently this month and be more discerning in where you invest your energy and how you show up, because your energy is sacred, and so be very mindful of where you are expending it. So setting those healthy boundaries are of course important. I think there's also going to be an emphasis on children, family, and a potential change in the home or living situation. And that doesn't have to be anything, dramatic or big or bad or anything like that. It's just, it can be you find out you're pregnant or you have a baby this month or your children are the focus of your time and energy right now or overly. So maybe you're moving home, maybe you're moving locations and so they need to change school, and so they need a little extra TLC to adjust or whatever the case may be. But you may find that if you have children or if you have, children within the family, that there's some there's some emphasis on them this month. You may also find that from the family unit as a whole, that there's emphasis on family and possibly traditions and that sort of thing as well. Let's see. And then there's also going to be this call for this need for peace and harmony. I feel like this is where we're going to see one of the more polarizing aspects between the collective is I feel like there's going to be quite a bit of chaos and discord in the external, so in the collective. And so it's really going to be our own individual responsibility to find our own peace and harmony, and to not overly emphasize, that it needs to come from the external to us, but rather create it from within and from within our own circumstances, creating those sacred spaces, creating scheduling that time for downtime or solitude or whatever you need to create that peace and harmony. I think that's going to come up pretty strongly. And I think the more time you invest in doing that, in creating that peace and harmony and understanding how to tap into it when you need it, I think that that's really going to serve you as we move through this 5 energetic year of 2021. So, instead of committing to those overly burdensome commitments or those obligations that aren't necessary, use that time and energy to instead focus on ways to create your own sanctuary, to create your own peace and harmony. Because again, you're going to need that resource and that lifeline moving through 2021. Then you may also see, we may also see collectively this energy around beautification, which is interesting because that's really a core essence of 33s, is that beautification. Like you all, when you are in alignment, you bring beauty to the surroundings. You bring love, you bring light, you bring all that high vibe energy into your interactions, into your space, into those experiences when you're in alignment. Now, we move in and out of alignment throughout our lifetimes, so nobody is expected to be perfect and constantly in that energy, right? But there's definitely this theme and this energy around beautification this month. So collectively, we may see this desire or this calling to sort of beautify self. So, focusing on self-care, focusing on, a new health regimen, focusing on maybe doing something for ourselves that feels good. And remember, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it's not about that external validation. It's about that internal feeling of satisfaction and joy and confidence. And so you may also have this urge to beautify your home. So maybe getting some new artwork, or actually doing a full-on remodel, or selling your current home and moving into a home that feels more spacious or aligned with your energy. And so those themes may come up for you and the collective as well. You may also just simply want to spend more time in nature. You may feel that call and that pull to go into nature and just surround yourself by that natural beauty. That is definitely a possibility. So definitely honor that if you can. So really the question this month becomes, how can you bring more beauty, peace, and harmony into your life? And really honor that. Okay, so I pulled an animal spirit card to see what the overall energy for the month is, and you all got dog spirit, and I love this energy for you all. The message is a little bit abrupt for dog, but it's truth. So I'm gonna repeat it so it's clear. So dog says, your loyalty and faithfulness is misplaced by serving too many masters. So I'm going to read it again. Your loyalty and faithfulness is misplaced by serving too many masters. I think this is such a potent energy for 33s and 6s, because that's one of sort of the shadow aspects of a 6 and 33 is like you just want to help and nurture and care so much that you really overextend at times, and that can be a shadow, that can be to your detriment. And so you really do become that people pleaser, that one who's constantly saying yes to please others, that one that's constantly showing up and giving. And then it gets to a point where you're no longer seeing, or maybe you never saw that reciprocated. And so it becomes just, you start to feel really defeated, like overwhelmed by how much you're giving and how little you're receiving. And so that comes from, again, just serving too many masters, just being, having your hands in too many pots, just, scattering your energy to a point that you just can't possibly feel whole. So I do think that that is a really profound message from dog. And I think that that's something that you need to keep coming back to, not just in January, but along your journey, because again, it comes back to that energy of not taking on unnecessary obligations or overly burdensome commitments. Again, be very discerning in how how you use your time and energy, and and set those healthy boundaries. That is okay. And this is something that continue, sixes and 33s continue to work with throughout your lifetime. So don't beat yourself up if it doesn't change overnight. But I think it's really important to be aware of those times that you are saying yes to please that other person or to perfect yourself in some way, which none of us are perfect. So pay attention to those times that just become, way over demanding and don't need to be. You know what I mean? Like, where are you showing up where it's like you're doing it out of obligation and not because it's something that serves you, that fulfills you. Okay. I think that's really, really important. And I think that you may see those themes come up quite a bit. And I think that you may see it come up around family, very, much so. So yeah, if you are struggling with finding your independence from a spouse, from family, from, colleagues, whatever, if you're finding it difficult to find your own independence, create your own sanctuary, and just have that autonomy because you're too busy trying to serve others, this is a really big call at the beginning of this month to find ways to try to get that in check so that you're not just continuing to overextend. So yeah, just continue to remind yourself how sacred your time and your energy are, right? Okay. So then we move into the each week of January, and I broke it down into 4 weeks. And the first week of January is interesting. It's just kind of this call for patience. So it's almost like you've been working really diligently on something. You've been very methodical in your steps. You've been taking sort of calculated risks, and you're just ready to see those tangibles, to see those rewards. And I'm just getting this feeling like you're on the right path. You're doing what, this is exactly where you're meant to be. But the timing is not right just yet for you to see that full, for you to see those things come to fruition just yet. So the call is really to continue to be very methodical in your steps, continue to take those calculated risks, continue to stand up for what you believe in and what you want. Even if others don't necessarily see your vision or understand your vision or agree with your vision, it's okay. But the call is to continue to move forward and to do so in a very, it just feels very like methodical. So pay attention to the details, pay attention to, again, how you're using your time and your energy, and make sure that you're not beating yourself up if you're not seeing those tangibles just yet, because the timing feels off. Not for you to continue to move forward and invest in whatever this is that feels like aligned. But there is this energy of like, it's not time yet for you to reap or sort of sow or reap the harvest, right? Like you're sowing the seeds right now, and you're building right now, and you're exploring and you're deciding, but you're just not quite there where it's time to sort of reap that harvest. So just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. If the energy feels really aligned, it's just really a call for patience this first week, and patience while continuing your momentum. So continue to move forward, continue to do what you're doing, but just remember that patience, and cut yourself some slack, right? So then we move into the second week of January, and it's interesting because it's almost like there's this sense of something coming to completion, something coming to some kind of closure, let's put it that way. So it's kind of like something that you've been struggling with or feel like you've been hitting a wall against. It's like you finally get some kind of closure to that. And I'm going to kind of equate it to, I don't know, like maybe you have some kind of, let's say that I don't know, let's just say you're going through some kind of a divorce or something like that. It's kind of like the feeling like the divorce is finalized, and it's, even though it's kind of bittersweet, there's joy in that completion and being able to move forward from that space. So it's kind of like something coming to completion that feels aligned, that it needed to come to completion. And it's kind of like you're getting that communication or that sort of verdict coming in around this time, and there's cause for celebration. So it's kind of like, again, celebration for the ability to now move forward without continuing to have that sort of weighing you down. So, this is a general reading, so it can come in a variety of ways, but it just feels like, again, some kind of communication coming in that feels final, but there's a sense of relief with it, okay? And so there is kind of cause for celebration and a feeling of lightness to move forward. So I like that for you all. And then the third week of January, we have this energy around, again, sort of finding your balance, finding your own equilibrium. And there's also this energy around, coming in pretty strongly around fairness and that energy of empathy. And so be aware of sort of any experience that you're still clinging to that's holding you back, that might have been some kind of past discretion or some kind of hurt that you're still kind of holding on to, and it's holding you in one extreme or the other. And so there's really just this call to kind of come back to center and to be mindful of your approach to others. So are you approaching the situation in fairness? Are you approaching the situation in honesty? Like, are you having those honest conversations with people? Or are you just assuming that they're going to know what you need? Because nobody is a mind reader. So nobody is going to just instinctively know exactly what you need or what you want without communicating that. And sometimes it starts with actually having that conversation with ourselves, because sometimes we just don't even know exactly what it is that we want. So how can we possibly communicate that to somebody else to allow them to show up in that way? So it's, if you need to have that conversation with yourself, then that needs to start there. Maybe you need to get down and get real with like what you want, what you need to feel supported, to be able to move forward on your journey. And once you've had that conversation with yourself and you've acquired that clarification, now you can have that honest conversation with those who are in your circle to help you feel supported. So again, your partners, your partner, your family, friends, your colleagues, your manager, whatever. But again, it really has to start with you and having that honest conversation with you yourself, as far as what do I even want? And, what do I need to feel supported, so that you can then communicate that to others. And then, cut them some slack as well, because if you have like a partner or a family member who, you feel so unseen or unheard with, just take a moment, step back and ask yourself, have I fully communicated to this person what it is that I actually need? Like what it is that I actually desire in order to feel supported? Because if you haven't had that honest conversation with them, it's unrealistic to believe that they will instinctively know what you need and to be able to show up in that capacity. So I feel like this third week is really like this time to get down and dirty with like what you need and like what you want and how, things might not be working, but why aren't they working? Is it just a matter of communication or a communication breakdown? And again, that doesn't necessarily just have to be with like a romantic partner. That can be with colleagues, with your manager at work, with whatever, it's just a matter of finding a way to release the need to be perfect, because there is no perfection. And if that's what's holding you back from stating your truth and what you need, because you don't want to be looked at as like, incapable of doing whatever it is you've been asked to do, but it's not aligned with you. So that's why, it's causing some friction. So it's kind of like, if that's what's holding you back from having those honest conversations, then you need to take a closer look at that, because, until you can have those conversations with others, until you can communicate those needs, it's almost impossible for them, unless it's just like a crapshoot and they just happen to show up that way, unless they're just super, super intuitive. And then they're going to be off the mark a little bit. So until you can have those conversations with yourself, figure that out, and then have those conversations with others, yeah, it's going to be hard to find your balance and move forward. So I think you're going to see some opportunities come up this week where you can really address that and sort of practice that. I think that's something that kind of comes over time, being comfortable and having those conversations. So, but anyway, I feel like that could come in potentially. That third week. And there's also this call to have that empathy and understanding and compassion for others, in understanding that if we aren't communicating to others what it is that we need, then we can't put that expectation on them to show up in an unrealistic way, in a way that we expect, but we haven't given them the tools to do it, right? Or even given them a fighting chance. So there's a little bit of that energy that third week. So just however that comes in. Then we move into the fourth week. And it's interesting because I almost feel like it might not have been for the sixes, but anyway, someone in this reading got something got some energy very, very similar to this. And for some reason, I'm feeling like it's the sixes, but regardless, it's coming in for you all. But there's this really strong energy around money and your mindset around money. So there is very clear, there's either going to be, it feels like the universe may be sending some kind of situation in to really help you focus on what in your mindset, what in your, thought patterns and all of that, what needs to change. Because there's I'm getting this sense of this severe lack mentality or poverty consciousness, and you're completely holding yourself back. And so you need to get a new perspective. You need to find a way to really work on that mindset. And I feel like you may, if you want to cling to these mindsets of I'm never going to have enough, or I'm always going to be poor, or I'm always, I am not abundant, nor will I ever be, or I'm not worthy, or, insert whatever self-defeating thought process here. But it's kind of if you don't take the responsibility to work on that mindset, and it takes time to, sort of switch gears. But if you don't take the responsibility to work on that mindset, I feel like there could be sort of this tower moment coming in for you around finances that is going to really force you to shift that consciousness. So it's kind of and that's not to scare you. That's just to say, I feel like, sometimes when we get stuck, in something that's really holding us back and we need to move forward, the universe will send in sort of a tower moment that feels catastrophic in the moment, but that is really helping us to get unstuck and, through our own efforts. But it helps us to see things in a different light, in a different perspective. And I do feel like something around money is coming in, that is going to sort of, I hate to use the word force, but is going to sort of facilitate a change in mindset, a change in your peripheral view when it comes to finances, resources, your relationship with money, because money is an energy, and we all have access to that abundance of the universe that is energy, that is energetic. And so it all comes down to the relationship with money. And so, yeah, kind of check yourself here, check your mindset, see where you're at with your relationship to money. Do you have a lack mentality? Do you have that poverty consciousness? Or do you have sort of the other extreme where you're just overspending, you know what I mean? Sort of living beyond your means in excess, right? And so, because again, it's finding that balance and sort of finding the happy medium and coming back into your center and alignment. And you can't do that if you're constantly in extremes. So it's not just about that poverty mindset. It's also about, that energy of I've got to keep up with the Joneses. So I'm going to charge on 6 credit cards and overextend myself to where I can't afford, to live. I'm basically house poor, that sort of energy. So I just get this feeling of extremes around money this week. And, so again, you can kind of take the reins. You kind of have the invitation when you're hearing this to take the reins and start to take the effort to change that mindset on your own. I do feel like there will be some kind of challenges or circumstances coming up though, but pay really close attention to whatever that is because I feel like it's really highlighting for you where that sort of imbalance is that needs your attention. All right. That feels very, very specific. So this isn't going to be for everyone. But if you're somebody and you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I definitely live in whatever that extreme, right? The poverty consciousness or the overextension, then this message is for you and it's found you for a reason. And so this is really again an invitation from the universe to take a closer look at your mindset around and your relationship around money and what needs to change. And again, if you're like, I don't know, I feel like I'm an extreme, but I don't know what needs to change, then I feel like you're going to have an opportunity to, the universe is going to highlight that for you. So see it for what it is and then decide how you want to move from there. Okay. So, and I just want to mention this too, because I was just drawn back to the dog's message, which was your loyalty and faithfulness is misplaced by serving too many masters. So again, it's like if you are sort of, sending your resources out in a million different directions, then you're overextending yourself. And I feel like that's the same thing with your resources. So again, it's like if you're in that extreme of like overspending or, just giving to too many places that you don't have enough for yourself, that's an extreme and that's an unhealthy, toxic relationship with your resources, with your money, with that energy. And so again, I think it's just a call to sort of rein it back in, not to the other extreme where you feel like you've got to hoard or be in lack mentality or fear of losing your resources or whatever, but finding that healthy balance. So okay, I hope that January is a profound and beautiful month for you all and a beautiful start to 2021. This was a general reading. If you'd like a personal reading, I would love to work with you. Book some time with me. I offer a variety of resources on my website. The link is in the description box below. Other than that, 33s, I will see you all again soon. Take care. Bye for now.